Okay, welcome back. We're having a clear up. Got rid of all of that. That's all gone down for the burn. We're just getting rid of the scrap metal at the moment. We're just going around finding all the scrap we can find. All the plastic containers will be cut up and put in the plastic bin for recycling. And then we will get into the shed and start tidying up in there. At the moment, that big old pile of scrap is heading down to Sackers, where we'll get weighed in, and then we'll move some of this and we'll get the little beastie over there shifted and parked up here, and then we'll start the MOT prep. However, this week's work, which I haven't even started yet, is the table. We've got this mahogany here, and I want that surface there planed down, glued together, a few battens underneath just to support it, and then we're going to replace it over this tabletop because I don't like what I've built. It's horrible, horrendously horrible. We also have a nice decent piece of, well, that, and we're going to replace that table leg with it and bolt it all down properly and hopefully improve this tabletop. Continuing on from where we left off earlier, once the tabletop has been done, I want to turn my attentions to in here. Now I've got a couple of beautiful leather BMW M Sport seats coming with headrests, screens in the headrests. We're going to take the screens out. I'm going to try and utilise those screens inside the truck. I've just recently found out last night that online you can actually get a patch lead for those screens to plumb them into a regular stereo system, which is flipping brilliant because the screens are cheaper to buy, better quality as well than the Chinese stuff. So they're going to find their way in the habitation unit, and I'm going to put a couple of cameras up, one over the door and one over this side, so we get intruders at night. I can flick the old screens on and see what's going on. But we are going to alter these chairs. I mean, you can see the bolster is absolutely torn to pieces here. The seats are uncomfortable. That one's even worse. We don't need 3 seats in the front, we just need 2 because we've got the access hatch to sort out. And also I've got more screens to go on that dash, so I'm going to make a pod that will fit where that gap there is, where the dip is. So those screens there plus one is going to go there in a little pod I'm going to build out of fiberglass. This is a Midland, so I'm going to try and make them so I can duplicate that over and over again, because I have noticed that there are people that have bought Midlands themselves for motorhome conversions, and they are more than suitable for the job. They are lovely little lorries, very reliable. So we're going to sort that out. We're going to sort the seats out, and we're going to sort that gap up there out. I was going to drop the headliner, but trust me guys, it's a nightmare to get down because of this cupboard. The wires, I've already snapped some wires that I've got to trace back, and none of these wires are coloured, they're all numbered. Pain in the butt. So I've got to try and find a way of covering that material because it's really rubbish. We've got Union Jack curtains going up at the back here, which I'm looking forward to putting in place. And we've got some red Valor style material which I'd like to put up there. We've also got what do they call them things? Oh, hell bells. Palmet or something with Renault written on it to go over the across there. That's got to go in. We've still got air horns to fit, but we want to get this outside painted up first. We were going to go with the white, but I've changed my mind now. We're going to follow that black all the way around with a bit of red and go from there. I ran out of weather, so I never got a chance to finish that black lining off, unfortunately. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to pick this up very slowly. The rubbish is gone. We've now filled the trailer up with more. I got £67 of that little lot.
Ain't bad.
Talking to the camera. So cleared most of it. My cat's grave is cleared. Just got to get all the wood sorted out and find somewhere to put this little lot. That area is clear. We'll chop that up tomorrow. This has all been sorted to the dustbin, and then we'll move the trike up here. So yeah, I mean, we're getting there slowly. I've just had to pull this out I had this about 6 months ago. I only just unpacked I've only just unpacked it because I just can't get nothing in the shed. That was in my loft, so I got the kid to pull it down and put it all together. The problem I've had is I've got another saw and it fell off the stand. Oh, I don't even know what he's done with it. I've got to get in here at some point as well and sort this all out. Okay, well, there's a chop saw sitting on there normally. I don't know where he's put it. And it fell off the stand because it wasn't clamped down properly. And the motor snapped clean off. And I've had to bodge it back together so I could continue to use it. Unfortunately, it's not cutting very square. The blade's getting blunt on it. And it's chafing all the edges of the wood up. So I've pulled this one out. It's the first time I've used it. It's okay for what it is. I like it. Does the job. Another thing I'm going to be doing soon, I'm going to be putting links at the bottom of my write-up, the description. I should be putting links up to direct you to tool companies. This particular saw here, if you decide to go to the link to purchase, I've set it up so you can get a 5% discount on that particular saw and stand. And here's the best bit for me, I get 5% given to me from Evolution. I'm going to get this tabletop done because it desperately needs doing. The wood is here, that's why I pulled that saw out and put it all together, because this is really nice wood. I'm going to put it through the planer, and the beauty about that stand is I can put my planer on that stand as well. So once I've cut to shape and length, I can then run it through the planer, and then we'll put some battens underneath them behind to support, and then we'll take that top off and then we'll screw that one down, and then we'll start varnish and change the leg. This is a 2-day job, so I can definitely have this done before the weekend's up. Right, started work. 2 cut, lovely crisp edge, but it's a little bit blistery at the back, but I'm pleased with that. Love the table more than I love the saw, if I'm honest. I find that is going to be more useful than anything else I've got in there for putting equipment on. I'm going to put the electric planer on there in a minute and see how it fares with that. But the saw, can't complain, not one little bit, on wood anyway. As I say, crisp, every edge. So we're going to get the planer out now, and we're going to rip both sides down to get the varnish off and try and neaten up some of these edges, because they are pretty rough, but that's what you get for using recycled wood. You have to put up with the surface that's given. As all things go, it's just worked out rather well. Problem is I was going to do it in stages and I forgot and never did it in stages for the film. So yeah, we're all playing down. I've got some nice grain pattern going on in there. We've angled the cut, we've put supports underneath, we've rounded the edges off, we've just got to round the sides off as I want that, so as nobody gets hurt if they whack into it. I was going to put some framework around it, but changed my mind at the last minute because I just don't see it I don't see it being necessary. I did forget to plane the bottom of that one, but that's me. Not everything goes perfectly. Never does with me. So sanded, screwed, glued. I've got the leg to sort out down now. I ain't done that yet because I don't know if I've got to lift this up in the air a little higher or not. I'm just not sure. I plugged up as many of the holes as I could, as best as I could, bearing in mind I don't have one of those plug cutters. It's a case of cut a square out, slap it in there as hard as I could with a hammer and hope for the best. That's the outcome. Shifted the skirting board as well. But that LED strip along that edge there fell apart. Well, the LEDs fell out when I pulled it off. What a load of rubbish. Anyway, so all I've got left to do to that now, clean up all the dust, use the Hoover for that, and get first coat of varnish on tonight. Might even be able to get the second coat on today as well, tonight as well, with a bit of luck. But then after that we've got to leave it because this stuff takes weeks to dry properly. If I dig my fingernail in this on the step, I guarantee you it'll come off. There you go, first coat, very watery coat. I can't remember the percentage, probably 30% white spirit, but that's on, and I'll leave that for now. We'll put another coat on that tomorrow, and then we'll leave that for a few weeks, and I will change my varnish brand and put my other stuff on it. I might get some floor varnish for this, I don't know yet, but that is looking really nice. I mean, the grain depth, I really hope I can pull this off. The only other thing I can think of is to sand it down, unscrew it from the wall, take it in the yard and put a 2K lacquer over it that's designed for automotive, which is what I did on that, which came out really good. But I think where this is going will be adequate, providing I can keep the brush lines at a minimum. If I can't, then I will sand it back and I will 2K it once this is fully cured off and dry. But yeah, I am really pleased with this. It's really nice, really nice. I'm sure this is mahogany, not teak. He reckons it's teak. I think that's Honduras mahogany. They're the seats, M Sport. A little surprised because they had screens in the headrests behind, little DVD players. Excuse me, but the DVD players don't play modern DVDs, so they're not a lot of cop, to be honest. I am going to take the headrests off and take the wires out for that, and try and get some new headrests without any player unit in them, and I might try and use them in the back of the truck somewhere. I don't know yet, but what we have got to do is we've got to fit armrests to those. I've got them. I've got the back off for one, very easy. It's a piece of plastic, you smack it with your hand, it falls off. You can access the whole of that interior of the seat, and there's a steel plate just there using connecting nuts. I shall drill through here, put the connector nuts in, run the bolt through, and then do the nuts up on the outside with some armrests that literally will go. So they will turn the captain seats. They're electric as well, but I don't understand what all is happening with those electrics. I'm a little concerned about these buttons down here because I've never seen that on the seat before. I don't know what they're for. I ain't got a clue. I'm hoping it's heat sensors, but again, I don't know. Before I forget, you're probably wondering how I'm going to fit these in the truck, bearing in mind that the bolt points are different on these seats to what they are in the truck, and I don't particularly want to drill extra holes in the floor. I would like to use the original bolting points. The answer to that question is, I don't know. You'll have to watch this space. As previously spoken about, we've got two armrests for each side. Previously made bolt holes from the previous vehicle that they came out of, which was a minibus. These are widely available at the scrap yards. I just don't know if you'll be able to get the armrests without the seats, because they get a bit funny about taking seats apart and being left with stuff they can't sell, if you see what I'm trying to say. So what I've got to do, I've got to park my backside on the seat, and I've got to get my elbow. So this is how I'd be sitting normally. So where my elbow is, we've got to find that line on one side, and then we'll measure up on all of them, and then hopefully we'll pitch them in at the right place at the right point. They need to be out, when they're fully folded up, they need to be out of the way, so they need to be up in that position there. The only thing I'm a bit concerned about, because I haven't measured up in the truck yet, is this going to be too wide for the door? That's the only thing I'm worried about, but we'll get round that. If I have to cut half the door card out, then that's what I'll have to do. I want these more than I want the door card. So what we've got, what do we need for this job? Right, well, we need some 8mm drill bits, we need a 5mm drill bit, we need bolts, we need connecting nuts, and in the lorry I've got some smaller nuts as well to finalise this all off. It's all very simple stuff, really. Right. Ah, yes, these are very comfy. Right, what I'm going to do is, oh hello dog, I'm going to put my elbow, so if you can put the tape, hang on, let me just get the position. Right, I think that's where my arms would be. Yeah, there. If you put that bit of tape just under my elbow, so just under.
Right.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep, stick it down.
Right.
Okay. Don't stick me to it.
I'm not sticking you to.
You're making a hash of that, ain't you?
No.
Okay, right.
Hold on.
Hang on.
You've got a cork to you.
Can you hold that there? Put your hand underneath it, not on top. You need to hold it tight because I'm going to put my elbow on it. I want to make sure that is.
So where the tape is?
I want it above the tape there. Push it hard against there.
Okay.
Yep, that works for me. So that's where my liner's going to be. Slap bang right in the middle of the tape. Thank you. Right, what I've done is I know the tape line is pretty much where the swivel point is on the seat. So, oh, wrong one. So I've angled it off, as you can see. Oh, it is the wrong one. No, that was the right one. Trying to do this one-handed. There you go. So I've done 2 holes. The tape line is in the middle. I will measure off on that line down to there somewhere, and then measure from the back across when I do the next ones. Having a point, like a line instead of a bit of tape, would be more useful to me. And then when it's fully folded up, that's the position that the seat arm will sit in. So it's out of the way, very much out of the way. So we'll do that to both and see how that works out. Alright, well we will hit this with a 5mm drill bit first. And I think we'll just tension this up as well. Just for the sake of getting it where it's meant to sit before we plug holes everywhere. Stay. Right. I say the point of no return. Right, holes are done, as you can see. I'm going to have to put a bolt in now. I'm going to have to run it from behind. I can just about get my hand under there. So I'll run the bolt through, we'll put the connecting nut on so it goes through the foam. That is acting as a spacer, so it doesn't push this in and make it look ugly, and stops the armrest from catching the side of the thing. So, right, let's get this done. Come on, get in there. One. Whew, that's not easy to get in there. Put a connecting nut on now, I won't lose the bolt when I try to put the other one through. The other one through. There we go, there's the other one. Right, now we need to get the foam over. Now we could split the foam if we wanted to, it would make life easier, but that might not help the overall look later. You'll see where the split line is. Right, there you go, that's on. One in. We've got an alignment issue going on here. Come on, get in there. There you go. Perfect. By a long shot. Tell you what I'm going to do. I don't see this being a problem. Now I didn't add this on the inventory. Big fat penny washers times 2. If we put one of them under each one, that PVC, when you lock the nuts down, will lock down on top of that. Hopefully stop that from frying out. Right. That goes on top like so. And we've got a bag of nuts. Ideally you want nylox for this. I don't have any. I've just got normal standard half nut type nuts. There we go, an armrest. Now, we've just got to trim off. Ideally I want to put some nylox on there, but I haven't got any, so I will have to come back to that. But by putting the big old penny washer underneath, that gives you something for this to grip to, so it doesn't pull it about when you start sitting on the seat. But yeah, that's all pretty good going, so we'll grind them off later. I won't do that just yet. Once we cut those off, we should be good to go. So I'm going to do the other three and then I'll come back to it. There you go, and that is how you put armrests on M Sport BMW seats. Pretty pleased with that. Does everything I need it to do. They look a bit weird, but once the headrests go on, yeah, pretty cool. Right, that's both seats done. This is the passenger one. I've done this one slightly different. Reference points for putting the bolts in is inside the metal in here, and I haven't put this cover on properly yet. Inside there is a slit, and I've drilled out the slit and used that as a reference point because the slit is for something that probably is for armrests, to be honest with you, and they match both sides, so I've used that on that seat as a reference point. The back covers on these M Sports is you've got slidey little lock-ins, but you've got some pins down here, plastic pins. You need to pop those out first, then wallop that, pull out the bottom, hit the top, that will fall off. Getting it back on is slightly more difficult. Mine had aftermarket headrests. We just got to get rid of these steely tabs, and then I can put the genuine ones back in, and everything will be hunky-dory and brilliant. You get a first aid kit under the passenger seat as well, in a drawer, so when you yank these out, be mindful not to break the flap, because my flap's broke and I'm going to have to put some hinges on that to get it all working again. So that is it. That is definitely it now. We are done. Finito. Right, I've done a touch up with varnish. Really don't like that stuff. I've got a lot of dust and there's bubbles in the varnish as well that I couldn't get rid of. Doesn't matter, I'll sand that back again, one more go, one more coat on top. But if that last coat don't come out any better, what I'm probably going to do is take the table outside, rub it right back down so all the grain is filled, and then hit it with some 2K lacquer instead, because the stuff is stronger anyway and it comes out a lot nicer. I've also touched up the ladder in places. I've got to get my hands on a piece of plywood at some point so I can cut the strips out to go along here and then cover this metal framework, and I also need to get some aluminium treads to put on top with some carpet glued on them, because the treads just ain't strong enough. The wood is too dried out. That's the problem with it. I mean, it is close. Another 3 more years outside and you could class that as rotten wood. I mean, it was close. It's very dry, so it don't have a lot of the grain is not oily, which gives it more springiness, if you see what I'm saying, which is what happened there. I stood on that and boom, I put my heel on, and I knew they were going to be weak. I knew it when I put them up, but the treads are not wide enough to keep them at that width. I had to come out that far, so yeah, there's not a lot I can do about it. Now we will do another video. I'll fit these in. I think I might do this tomorrow, possibly. Next week we're definitely doing a slide out. So I'm going to leave it at that for the video because it's now long enough. I would just like to say thank you very much for subscribing. Welcome to the new subscribers. Hope some of this information has been useful to you. Please press the like button. Please subscribe if you haven't already. That would be very much appreciated. And we'll see you next week when we start the slide out floor. Goodbye.